Public services in Cameroon are going online. Entrepreneurs are building startups while development partners and the private sector continue to advocate for the financing of digital services. Internet traffic is on the rise while data centers continue to multiply in various sectors. It is a clear indication of how Cameroon has embraced the digital revolution. However, the digital economy plays barely 3% into the gross domestic product of Cameroon. It is for this reason that government in its 2030 National Development Strategy has made information and communication technology a cornerstone in the economic drive. In this special edition of the program live from the ICT University in Yaoundé, we shall be meeting my guest who will tell us what it takes to write Africa's story in the information and communication technology sector and how digital transformation can affect and promote human existence and nation building. Stay with us. Our guest is a Stallings Distinguished International Scholar and a Management Information Systems Professor at East Carolina University in Greensville in the United States of America. He is a philanthropist and has funded multiple ICT projects and scholarships worldwide. He is founder of the International Center for Information and Communication Technology and Development. The acclaimed scholar serves as visiting professor in several universities and higher education institutions across the world. He is holder of a Bachelor of Science degree in Management Information Systems from the U.S. International University, a Master's of Science degree in Management Information Systems from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and a PhD in Master's Information Systems from Auburn University, all in the United States of America. Recipient of 3 Lifetime Achievement Awards in higher education, he has authored more than 250 academic publications in the form of books, peer-reviewed journals, conference proceedings, and book chapters. Every year, he serves as keynote speaker in various platforms. Join me to welcome the founder and president of the Board of Trustees of the Information and Communication Technology University, known as the ICT University, with its headquarters here in Cameroon, but also with campuses across the African continent. He is no other than Dr. Victor Mbarika. Dr. Mbarika, thank you very much for talking to Dash News.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah,
thank you, Peter.
Exactly. It's a massive pleasure.
Yes, I'm also thankful to your founder, Mr. Bonnie Dashako, who is a good friend of mine and who is one of the men I admire the most in this country.
Right. Thank you, sir. Now, when we're coming for this production, we never thought that we'll meet another ceremony. A ceremony, of course, which of course is a recognition to your contribution in the ICT sector in Cameroon and across the African continent. The Guardian Post just awarded you as Man of the Year for inspiring the move to lead ICT and the Space Information Program as requested by the President of the Republic. Tell us a bit about this award and how do you feel about it?
I'm thankful to God for this award. It's such an honor. When you ask about the person of Professor Victor Mbarika, I'll tell you I'm just a product of God's grace, good upbringing by my parents, Mr. George and Mrs. Regina Mbarika, that I honor very much. I have received, as you have read, 3 Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Yeah.
But those were given outside of Cameroon. This award as Man of the Year 2022 for my country, Cameroon, is the most special because it's given by my people. And no disrespect to my friends in the United States, but this is my best ever award because it recognizes what, by the grace of God, I'm able to contribute, even in a very small way, especially in the domain of ICTs, to this lovely country. And you mentioned the space program. You know, the President of the Republic, in his speech in Washington, D.C., not long ago.
During the U.S.-African Summit.
During the U.S.-African Summit, President Paul Biya spent a lot of time talking about how Cameroon wants to lead in the area of space and satellite technology. Not just, what I loved about his speech, not just for Cameroon, but for Africa as a whole. Well, I have good news. Even before the president made that proclamation, you had seen in the newspapers, ICT University already started its space program, and we are excited about that we can talk of a space program right here in Cameroon, in the continent of Africa.
All right, Prof. Now, let's go back to the beginning. You hail from Zangtabi in the Northwest region.
Yes.
You were born in Boya, and you grew up in Yaoundé. We'll say you are a perfect example of multiculturalism.
Absolutely.
You just mentioned the role your parents played.
Yes.
How was it growing up?
They raised me in a Christian environment, right? They're Presbyterians, members of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. And I'm proudly from Zangtabi. It's a shame I've not spent a lot of time in that village, but the older I get, the more I appreciate my village, Zangtabi, and I want to promote it everywhere I go to, where the paramount ruler of the whole of Meta, from Titatabi, is the overall leader of the Meta clan. And so we are proud of that village. That's where my parents grew up, and the values they learned growing up from that village, they put them in me. Like my father will always say that he has never visited what we call it Pidgin and medicine man. So he prays, he goes on his knees. I've seen him do that many times. Believing in prayer, believing in God, believing in the fact that there are no impossibilities. And I've just followed the footsteps of my father and my mom in trusting God for a lot, but be careful. I'm not one of those who just say, just go pray, pray, pray. The hard work. They go together, right? So you cannot be successful in the world by just praying, but you must have a product you can offer the world. And so that's what I learned.
Faith without works is dead.
Man, absolutely. He has been running his own businesses, even while he worked with the government too. And sponsored a lot of us to study out of the country. So that mixture, think about it, born in Boya, but from Zangtabi in the Northwest, grew up in Yaoundé and the United States where I spent most of my life. That is why I cannot, as an individual, sit here and say Cameroon should be divided. Because most of my friends, I grew up knowing them here, my childhood friends. So where do people like us go to? I love this country, and I love the fact that we are a united Cameroon, with its problems, by the way. But I love this mix in our culture, which makes us, by the way, Africa in miniature. I love that aspect of Cameroon. Please, I'm begging everyone, let's not break that.
All right, Prof. After secondary school in Yaoundé, you went to the United States at 17. Not many young people can have the courage of going abroad for further studies. How did you cope in the United States at such a young age?
Both the United States and also the American University in Kenya. So I did both. And when I was leaving, I had started a youth ministry called Cameroon Youth for Jesus, and my biggest worry was not even about my education. My biggest worry was whether that youth ministry would survive, and I'm proud to say today we have well over 25 branches all over the country. God is still working hard through CYJ and so on. But it made me become a man, because growing up, your parents do everything for you.
Sure.
You know, I was blessed to grow up in a family where my dad worked hard and gave us a really good life. We always had people cooking for us. We always had servants. We always had drivers. And so he gave us a very comfortable life. So that helped me living at such as a teenager to go out of the country to become a man. And he told me that I've trained you, I've mentored you, now go and face the world.
Life, yeah.
You know, so I'm glad he sent me out of the country, like he sent my siblings too. And he told me all he wants is for me to get a PhD, and I got it for him. If I don't even have any of my degrees with me, he keeps all of them. If you ask me for my PhD certificate, I'll say.
Yeah. All right, Prof. Now, your point of specialty, of course, was ICT
Absolutely.
technology. Why the choice? Most of the time when during the past days, the past years, when Cameroonians live abroad, we always hear them becoming medical doctors, but you choose technology.
Yeah, at a very early age. It's thanks to, first of all, thanks to my elder brother, Eric, who, I have one brother, who is a wonderful, good example, a great big brother that cares a lot about me. He was the one that encouraged me to do information technology, which at the time many people did not understand it, but he's an electrical engineer, so and so I took this route. It's really thanks to him, and you are right. At the time, everyone wanted to become a medical doctor. But I will tell you honestly, I've never dreamt to become a medical doctor because I'm afraid of blood. So it was not a profession that would work for me. I hope one of my children become that. But it turns out, as God will have it, that information technology has become one of the best things we have in life today.
Prof, you have a peculiar academic roadmap. You did arts in high school.
I did.
Went abroad, did ICTs, and you got your bachelor's, master's, and PhD in 5 years.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yes. Oh, Peter, I love that you asked me this question. I've been interviewed by all kinds of media around the world. Nobody has asked me this, so I really love it.
Thank you, Prof.
You see, this is a very important thing. You see, growing up in Cameroon, parents always say, my child must be a science student. I am sorry to say that's utter nonsense. You know, some of the greatest scientists did not go to school and do science. So I did arts. I proudly did economics, geography, and math, A4. And the beauty with when my brother encouraged me to do information technology, beauty of information technology and the American system of education is that they start you from nothing.
Yeah, from the base, from scratch.
So you take a lot of general courses and so on, then from there you can figure out what you like and then you can branch. This is the type of culture I want to personally bring to higher education in Cameroon. And I'm really hoping the government of this country, like they have encouraged me in many areas, would allow some of us to contribute more and more in bringing this type of system. This is what we have at ICT University. You can have A level, A1. You can come to ICT University and you will graduate with computer science degree. Why? Because with the American system, which is what we practice here, we start you from the basics of everything. That's why our program is 4 years. Year one, a lot of general courses, you really start specializing from year two. And that's what, by the grace of God, going through the American system of education, which it has its weaknesses, but I'll tell you, I'll pick it over the French or British system of education that locks you in. If you are an art student, you must stay in arts. If you are a science student, you must stay in science. Wait a minute. If you do math, physics, chemistry, you should be able to opt and become a journalist.
Yeah. And they are.
Yeah. Why should you have S1 or baccalaureate say, and you must only go and do sciences in university? No! If you want to become a great literary scholar, a great guy in literature, you should be able to go to university and do literature. I really believe in that American system of education that allows you to be able to flow, where you can have English, French, and history, and you become a medical doctor. I like that. We should have that. You know, let's not be afraid to try new things. By the way, I'm not criticizing our system. because our parents, our grandparents in Cameroon, our government for the last 50, 60 years, they did the best they could. Now we of this generation, we are proposing new ways of doing things, and I'm glad that I'm seeing some of, not just the Cameroon government, but the other governments around Africa I deal with, they're really open to these new ideas, and I'm really thankful for that.
All right, let's talk about the vision, the ICT University. How did you come about it?
I want to say I cannot stop by thanking the United States National Science Foundation that started funding me to do research on ICT transfer to Africa. So I started doing that research, and they funded me in millions and millions of dollars, including NASA, the space agency, to do a lot of research on how ICTs can transform Africa. Now everybody's talking about digital transformation. Those are things that we started writing about over 15 years ago. From the research we started doing, I discovered that education and training in the ICT domain is key if we are to compete with the Western world. And that was the inspiration of ICT University. I had, I don't want to call his name, but he's one of the top political leaders in Ethiopia, who was my PhD student, but wanted to keep his political position in Ethiopia, but still do a PhD. And so I started asking myself, why not create an institution where students can go to either online or on campus and still be where they are? That is why we launched the ICT University. So we have a fully on-campus and fully online presence. So there are not up to half of our student body come to this campus. Yeah. Some of them are purely online. And that is what I love about this. Yeah.
Now, how different is it from other technology schools?
We are primarily a very hands-on institution. If you want to be a lecturer at ICT University, first of all, in your interview, we test you on technologies. We don't just believe you come in, I'm a computer scientist.
You should be able to teach what you practice.
You demonstrate it by teaching some hands-on things during the interview, which is what we want you to do. It's unfortunate that many students finish bachelor's, master's in computer science, but tell them to change the hard drive of a computer, and they cannot do it. So unfortunately, the training that has been going on in many African countries, Cameroon is not the exception, it's been very theoretical. And that is why I'm about to, I will give this as an example. It was controversial, but I think people were talking ignorant. When the president bought the 500,000 laptops, people criticized his government terribly, saying that how can you buy a laptop that has such a low storage? By the way, today, a lot of people are storing in the cloud.
In the cloud, yeah.
It is a common thing because right now, infrastructure to do physical storage on a system is very limited. So you can occupy terabytes of space in the cloud today. So people talked out of ignorance, and the same people that were criticizing it took those computers and were selling it. I know someone that tried to sell it for 25,000 francs. You know, so ICT University trains people on those hands-on technology, so people can really understand what really technology is all about, as opposed to just giving them theoretical lessons and they're going. Number two, we have a system where you can join our university 3 times a year. In the fall, which is October, in the spring, which is February, and in the summer, which is in June, July. So we create this system where you can come in anytime, and so far as you come and finish the body of knowledge required for that degree, then we graduate you. So we are, then of course we are very strong with our online learning, which is something when the Prime Minister said universities should close down, we continued because we continued online. We just told students you cannot come to campus.
It was just a normal way of life.
With normal transition. So I usually joke and say in the media that we disobeyed the Prime Minister. He's a wonderful man. He's like a father. I will not disobey him. But I joke saying that because we were still able to do this even though COVID was going on, and comfortably did it online.
All right, Prof, please take us through the digital literacy program, which was very instrumental in bringing out this project. How instrumental was it? We
started a digital literacy program in Ahmedabad, in the state of Gujarat, in India, where we trained well over 100,000 Indians on just how to use computers. So ICT University was a major part of that. At that time, the governor of Gujarat was the current prime minister, is the current prime minister of India. His Excellency Modi. Little did I know that him signing us to train in his state, he would become a prime minister. Now I regret not keeping a close relationship with him. I could have been hanging out with him now. But we started digital literacy with the National Open University in India, which has well over 500,000 students. And then we went into rural areas and trained people how basic use of computers. You know, it's just one of the things I'm trying to bring to Cameroon and other African countries. So that inspired me, because at a certain point I was like, wait a minute, why am I sleeping here in India at my young age? I can do these things in Cameroon. That's how we started it in Uganda, Rwanda, a number of African countries, and then Cameroon, of course.
All right. We have also led the African Journal for Information Systems. How important was it in driving forward this digital transformation and the digital economy concept?
Yeah, the African Journal of Information Systems is a project I launched in Brazil at a conference with a number of other colleagues there. The African Journal of Information Systems now is more on the theoretical side, is to develop hardcore theoretical research on how technology can be used to improve development. Now, be very careful. There are two phases of technology. There's a hands-on I've taken time to talk about, but we cannot neglect the need for deep philosophical research into understanding what it takes, not just to create the technology, but to utilize it in the right way. Are you with me?
Yes.
And so developing policies about technology, developing strategies on implementing technology, and things like that, on adoption of technology. You know, if, for example, you take a very complicated technology to Zangtabi, it may be a very good technology for New York, but it may not help the people of Zangtabi.
Yeah.
You need to rework it in a way that could be easily used in Zangtabi, where we don't have electricity. So, for example, if you want to develop mobile phones, well, you should develop mobile phones that can be powered by the sun, right?
Yeah.
Such that they can be powered, because in Zangtabi, you don't have electricity all over.
Yeah.
So those are the things the African Journal of Information System does. Really hardcore research, and it's become one of the most respected journals in all of Africa. In fact, in South Africa, universities, if you publish in South Africa, the government pays you money for publishing in the African Journal of Information Systems. That's how much it's respected, you know. And so it's more on the research and theory side of ICTs.
All right, Prof. What is your assessment of the growth of ICTs in Africa as a whole?
Let me say this, which will shock people. We have all the ICTs in Africa needed for development. The issue is not even the presence of the technology. The issue is, are we utilizing it, even whatever we have right now? I was bragging I've been bragging in many places that in America it takes 6 weeks to manufacture a passport, to do a passport. In Cameroon, 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
Perfect use of technology. Now, I don't like the fact that some of the people coming to work on the technology for our passport
are coming abroad.
Are coming from are Portuguese. I don't like that. I don't like that, because we have computer scientists here in Cameroon that can do a better job than the Portuguese can do. But that's why I keep saying that we should stop blaming the government. We cannot wait for the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, the Secretary General of the Presidency, the Director of Civil Cabinet, everyone. They are not the ones who come to it. But the people down there that are making these decisions to bring in Portuguese, why would you do that? You know? So this is an example of the state of technology. So you have some Portuguese that are not even as good as any graduate from ICT University or from Polytechnic in Yaoundé that will be coming and making a lot of our money, staying at Montfebe, enjoying themselves, and even going after our young girls, which I don't like. And we have the expertise here. We have them. We don't need any white person to come and work on our technologies here. We have the training here. Even if the people did not know before, ICT University can do that. So we have the technologies. The technologies are here in Cameroon. Almost everybody has a smartphone now.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. I'm even told that even iPhone 14 that just came out, it's already in Cameroon.
It's in Cameroon.
It's in Cameroon. What else do we need? Okay? The problem is that people don't, we just like to complain. When we fail, we blame everybody but ourselves. We blame the government. We blame the villager, some old man in the village for sorcery and so on. Let me give you an example. With an iPhone today, or even a simple smartphone, we have done research in places like Mali, where cattle rearers, they no longer have to carry all their cows to the market, but they can take pictures on their smartphones, send it to the market, people look at it, they debate the price, and then they bring the cow there. That's perfect use of technology. We now work, discussing with President Obasanjo's Institute, looking at how the mobile phones can provide farmers weather information so that they know what to plant at a certain point. With geographic information systems today, we can tell what soils are good for what particular type of plants.
Yeah.
Simple technologies, we have them here, my young brother. The thing is, we have to utilize what we have, and then we see where this gap is. Final example. Many young girls in Africa now, they go around dating rich men, and they ask these rich men to buy them smartphones. Buy me an iPhone. An iPhone 14. What is it in Cameroon? It's over 800,000?
Yeah.
800,000.
A million plus.
A million plus to buy an iPhone, a new iPhone. The girls go and ask for a rich man to buy them $1 million, just to sleep around with them. Ask that rich man, they will spend 1 million, but why don't you go and buy a laptop for 200,000 francs and educate yourself so you don't have to be going around prostituting? But the technologies are here, but we are using it wrongly. Our priorities are wrong. The Minister of Post and Telecom, one of my mothers, Madame Libon, talks about this all the time. We have the technologies, we just have to appropriate them. You can have a director in a big ministry here because he has a secretary, he has a laptop, but he would tell the secretary to print emails, bring to him, he reads the emails, put a note, the secretary goes and replies. What kind of nonsense is that? You have the computers there, the government has spent money and bought a computer for you. You still want a secretary to print out. I'm talking practical cases, Peter.
Yeah.
I've seen them. The secretary will print it. So it's not that we don't have the technologies, we are not utilizing to maximum capacity what we have.
But Prof, when we look at the quality of, for example, the internet, which is in Cameroon, there are always complaints that the quality is not good and internet access is not really that deep in Cameroon. Isn't that a problem?
I totally disagree with them. I totally disagree with people that say that. Internet quality is good enough. It's not the best, but it's good enough. The download and upload times we have for the internet in Cameroon now, I'm not a big fan of them, but MTN, Orange, what they provide, I mean, I think they do cheat our people, and we could do better to impose sanctions on them to make sure they provide what they are saying they will provide for our people. But they still provide good enough internet to do whatever we want to do. The speed we have for the internet in Cameroon now is better than the speed Europe and America had 10 years ago, but they were still developed. They were still using it for big things. So why are we not using it today? So I agree that we need to keep improving connectivity speeds, which is what we call bandwidth, okay? But we cannot wait The African mentality is wait until we have everything and we will never be satisfied. We have to change this mentality. Use what you have, manage what you have to do something productive. As time will come, we will have better internet. ICT University is working on space programs such that Cameroon and other African countries, we can build our own satellites to be able to provide us the internet we need.
Yeah.
So we don't have to depend on foreign governments for the provision of internet.
Another observation, Prof, is that the consumption of locally made ICT products is still very low. Cameroonian youths are very inventive. They produce so many products, but there seems to be that problem with these products not getting into the right quarters. Is it an issue of trust or is it an issue of mentality? We saw during the WhatsApp crisis.
Yeah, Ghana is facing the same problem because we've done some work in Ghana. The problem with that is us, first of all, right? Yeah. Us as Africans. A young man will develop good software. What do? Instead of buying it, we find out our friends that have the software, we take it and copy it in multiple places. How would that person ever build a really good organization? Because we pirate a lot. It's like in those days when we used to have cassettes.
Yes.
Too young to remember this. But when you had cassettes, you have one cassette, you just record so many, give to your family, to your friends, and even Christians were stealing gospel music, recording cassettes and distributing. So I think the mentality has to change where we should be able to go and pay for software developed by young scholars from ICT University, from Polytechnic, from University of Douala, University of Yaoundé, etc. We cannot keep pirating. And number two, this is where government policy comes in. They should criminalize piracy. Now, let me not say they should criminalize. Maybe it's already there. Maybe it's not just implemented. Maybe, you know, if someone, you can go to studios here where people are selling fake pirated software.
Yes.
They should be punished. There should be consequences for people that are pirating software, because it will not help develop our ICT and the young men and women in ICTs. Now, what I want to do, I plan to invest $1 million in young Cameroonians for the next 5 years. We'll be on projects. So we will give 20 million francs and help some 5 young men and women each year to develop projects ICT projects that they will not only market for Cameroon, but the target will be to market it to the Western world, etc. So we can get some of that money that the Portuguese are taking from here, we can get it back from them. Because we have the talent. India is one of the largest providers of outsourcing services.
Yes.
I want Cameroon, and I'm saying this in public because I will do it, and nobody can stop this. We will do it. You will interview me in 5 years, it would have happened.
Of course.
We want to compete with India, but what we'll do to beat the Indians, we will charge the Western world half of what India is asking them for outsourcing services, and we'll provide better services than Indians. Yeah. Okay, that is a way to build the local ICT sector of Cameroon.
Okay. ICT thrives on 3 factors. Experts talk about infrastructure, they talk about content and cybersecurity. How important are these pillars?
Let me say what you just mentioned, what experts say is true. Many experts say that, but in content it is not correct. The 4th aspect is in people.
Yeah. The
human resource. You have to build the human resource in order to propagate ICTs. We make a mistake and think ICTs is all about the technology. It's about the people. The people. That's why I teach every day on this. It's about the people. Okay? So, yes, hardware is important, content is important, cybersecurity is equally important. But training the people to be able to build these technologies, manage these technologies is even more important. Because the great thing with all these 3 domains you have named can be innovated more and more and improved but you need people to be able to think instead of just adopting something that's from outside of Africa. We learn to think, to develop our own cybersecurity strategies and technologies. We develop our own hardware. One of the plans of ICT University in some years to come, I would not have felt accomplished until Cameroon produces its own computers, its own mobile phones. These are the things I want to bring to this country. We can do them here much cheaper and not have to depend on China, on the Western world to do these things. Okay, cybersecurity is a huge thing. That's why we have a special training program here from bachelor's to PhD in cybersecurity. It has come and it will remain a huge problem because every day somebody is looking to defraud Peter NSOSIE online. I'm sure you receive all kinds of messages.
Fake profiles.
The president of the late president's wife once has 20 million and wants to pass it through you and so cyber crime is huge, it's here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it, but we can only fight it.
All right. The ICT recently reached an agreement with the Ministry of Higher Education. And a key point in that memorandum was the provision of $600 million to boost youth capacities in the ICT sector. Prof, where are we with this MOU?
I want to correct that a little bit. We offered scholarships through the Ministry of Higher Education to young Cameroonians, and many of them have started already. Some of them for the masters have started graduating, some for the PhD, and so on. And what we are trying to work with, I think the 600 million you're talking about, is what we are investing in young people to be able to do some startups, but in collaboration with ICT University. That's why we did mention this with the Ministry of Higher Education, but I don't want confusion in this, because I want to be very clear that in this money, it is not a donation to youths or to the government. Each young man or woman that starts those businesses, a percentage will be shared with ICT University as part of its investment, right? Because I think it would be unfair for anyone to expect ICT University to just give out 600 million francs just like that. What we want to do is we are not even giving them cash. We work with them, pay for expenses in developing that business, and the business is co-owned between ICT University and that student for the long run. But that's a very difficult concept, usually doing it in our beloved country.
I just wanted to talk about
usually people don't even respect agreements. So unfortunately, we have to be very strict with young people we work with to understand that this is not your family business. Because a lot of times, their family members will come and tell them, oh, ICT University is trying to cheat you. Well, we are the ones giving you the money. You are not forced to take it. If you don't have any money and you come to us, you have a good idea, we want to invest, why should we not get some of that money to run the institution? Are you with me? So many times with our selfishness and corruption, we want to take that money and use it just for our families. No, we have to change that mentality. Almost all the big name organizations you hear in America, they have partners, they have different people involved. Apple is not just one person. Microsoft is not just Bill Gates. They have other people contributing. Even Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, some of the things were built with him and his friends at Harvard, right? So, but there is a mentality that we must find a way to change where, and usually it's not even from the young people, it's from their families that will start putting in their minds, especially when they start making small money. Meanwhile, ICT University gives you the money to do that startup. They start putting in their minds, oh, why don't we do this ourselves? So ICT does not get a percentage. We can keep all of that for our family. Okay, go do it. If you can, I'll be happy. But it's an investment strategy of the university. And it's still in progress. our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Alan Iso, as well as our Vice Chancellor, Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi. They are very passionate about this particular part of ICT University.
All right, Prof, let's talk about the space program. We mentioned it at the start of this interview. The call by President Paul Biya for Cameroonians to embrace space technology. Concretely, what is ICT University doing about that?
Now, just to clarify something here, ICT University is not planning any soon to send astronauts.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, sure.
What we are trying to do is to develop what we call Africa's communication independence. Right now, there are about 5 African countries that says they've developed satellites. It's not true. Rwanda is one of them, Morocco, Egypt, Algeria, and I'm missing one other.
Ghana. Okay, yeah.
What they're actually doing is they are paying for satellite space through some other countries, some developed countries, which means if those developed countries are not happy with them one day,
they can shut them off.
They can shut them off. So we still not have our independence. That's why I love what President Paul Biya was saying. We have to look for ways for African countries to come together, pool their resources, because it's very expensive. ICT University is initiating it to do the satellite part of things. But eventually, to really have a dominant, what we call GE or geostationary satellite in orbit, it will require a lot more financial investments than just one institution like ICT University doing it. That's why I'm hoping that either the Cameroon government or some other big investors would step in and would put our hands together, our resources together, to be able to do what we can have as our own independent satellites. If we have that, CRTV can use it. The presidency can use it, because security. You don't want a place like the presidency to be dependent on foreign satellites. Yeah. What if they set up something against our country? Because I tell you, there will be no one day the Western world will love us more than we love ourselves. So I know it's a far concept, but we have to start thinking it today. We have to start thinking about it today to be able to develop our own independent communication systems. That does not have to go through the Western world. It is very important. I know it's far-fetched, but we have to actively start thinking of it today. And that is what some of us want to do, to develop Africa's communication independence. We have the Chinese all over Africa today. If we have to depend on them on communications, all these contracts signed and so on. Let's say tomorrow, Cameroon defaults. China can decide to take over some of the things, but we still have our own communication independence. When you are cut off with communications, when America goes to war with countries, if you hear the first
thing is
they bomb? They bomb communication structures.
Yeah.
Because they have access to them.
Yeah.
So that is why ICT University is very passionate about this, but we are working on our satellites for civilian use. I want to clear it, to use in agriculture, healthcare, education, and things like that. Right now, we are overly dependent on the Western world. Orange, MTN, they are all dependent on the Western world for provision of their satellite services. It's okay in 2023, but it will not be okay in 2032.
Okay, Prof. When we talk about ICTs, most of the times people look at the economic side of things, but we're in a country, Cameroon, that has been going through a socio-political challenge for 6 years now. And government has been doing a lot to ensure that the crisis comes to an end through some structures, though there are still clashes. You brought out the concept of e-patriotism. What role can ICT play in ensuring that a crisis like this comes to an end?
Great question. And listen to me very carefully. I have nothing against our brothers and sisters from the Northwest and Southwest. I am from the Northwest. But all I'm saying is, if you are angry with the government of Cameroon and you are killing your own people, how does that help your people? Nothing. And I believe to a large extent the government has called for the national dialogue twice. I was in the last one.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it. Yes, we are Cameroon, we are a family. Yes, we don't agree on things. Come, let's reason together, like God says in the scripture. Come, let's talk about it. What is wrong with talking? Okay, fine, let's even talk and disagree. But at least let's talk. Then you have some of the leaders of these movements in the Western world that don't even want to talk, don't even want to dialogue, but only want to fight. To what end? Okay? It is a very... I'm not a politician. I'm an information technology person. Even if you don't want to meet face to face, let's do these things online. Let's have dialogue on some of these issues. You know, I will give you an example, Peter. In Zangtabi, I built a computer lab. Very high standard computers there. And when the crisis started, they came and broke the place, stole all the computers that were there in the government technical school in Zangtabi. How does that help your young brothers and sisters that were supposed to benefit from those computers? You are angry with the government and you go and break a computer lab. That did cost me a lot of money because I know what I spent. It doesn't help us at all. So I'm still pleading with my friends in the diaspora, because the people on ground in Northern and Southwest, they listen a lot to them. Yeah. I'm still pleading that they should give peace a chance and dialogue, because I've met with several top members of this government. They want to talk about this thing and come to a resolution of this crisis. Let's start somewhere.
Okay, Prof, let's talk about e-patriotism. Where does this come in now in the resolution of this?
I'm sorry, I missed that part of your question, but the e-patriotism part is now what we are developing, as you know, a radio and TV station for ICT University. The e-patriotism part is for us to use technologies to make ourselves proud of where we come from. Okay, fine. You may not like the way the government runs this country, but I don't know, a lot of people miss something the president said in one of his speeches. He said, we will not be here tomorrow,
and Cameroon will
Cameroon still be here.
Yeah.
So take a look at the entire government. Take a look at all the businessmen today. The fact is that it's not me that created it, God created it that way. All these faces in some years will not be here, but Cameroon will still be here. So e-patriotism is using the power of technology to talk about what do we like about our country, about our continent. Our rector, Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi, will give a series of lectures. What does it mean to be a Cameroonian? What does it mean to be an African? So we are developing it. We want Cameroonians to stay tuned for ICT University Media, ICT University Radio, and ICT University TV that will be dedicated to promoting patriotism among Cameroonians. I have not said anything here that we have no problems in Cameroon. We do, but who is going to fix it? It's us. The Western world will not fix it because they have their own interests. They will not fix it. I'm blessed by God to fly first class in most places I go to. When I fly first class to come to Cameroon, I fly first class to go to different African countries. We are sometimes 2 or 3 black people in first class entering Africa. I know how much we pay to enter first class. Yeah. If there was nothing in Africa, why are all these white people flying first class to come here? Why are they spending the money? They're not coming to vacation. There are good things here they're coming to look for. So e-patriotism is to get people to love their nation. You don't even have to love anybody in this country, but love your country. That is all. But I want to use the power of technology to accomplish that, Peter.
All right, Prof. we are still within the International Women's Day week, and the theme of this year centers on equality through digitalization. How significant is it at this point in time?
I was so excited when they announced that Women's Day theme would be on digitalization for equality. Wow. I really want to thank this government, as well as especially the Minister of Women, who has visited our campus, by the way. Because typically women have been relegated to more arts discipline. They have not been very much involved in science and technology. So to bring this and to see women getting more and more into the area of ICTs, we have a huge population of women, of young girls here in this country, at this university. We have them coming all the way even from other African countries, from Nigeria, northern Nigeria, the Fulani women. We have several of them studying here. One of them is a big personality now in the state of Jigawa in northern Nigeria. Very quiet, calm girl, but she did ICTs here, and she's one of the top government officials there. Those are the things that excite us. I have two lovely daughters, Ruth and Faith, that love technology. I want to see young girls in Africa do the same, you know. So I'm so glad about what happened with Women's Day. I was honored by the government to be at the grandstand, and I saw for myself the great strides this country is making in terms of women. We have so many women ministers now. Africa is doing great with its women. Africa has had more women presidents, more women parliamentarians than most regions, most parts of the world. Nobody talks about that, you know. So that was a great theme for Women's Day. It went well beyond just the wearing of kaba to talking about digitalization of women. And this summer, beginning in June, July, we'll be offering some free artificial intelligence training for women, young girls, and so on, to bring them up to speed with modern technologies.
Okay, Prof, we are going to end with this little anecdote many people don't know about you. You hold a chieftaincy title, 4 of them.
4? No, 5.
5, yeah, from Nigeria. What is the relationship between technology and culture?
I was blessed by God to have the resources to provide a lot of computer labs in Nigeria, and so their government and their kings there, they recognized me. I have 2 from the Yoruba region, 1 from the Igbo region, 1 from South. So you're right, 4. And they told me that Professor Mbarika, each of those chieftaincies, they were going to give me 3 wives. So they have not given me even 1. So they lied to me. So I have 4 honorary chieftaincies, and 1 has been proposed to me in Cameroon. I cannot talk about it yet until it comes out. But I love my chieftaincy titles, because I spend most of my life outside of Cameroon, outside of Africa. And so for me to be recognized for my work I do in ICTs and be honored with the chieftaincy, technology and culture is huge. Technology and culture is huge. And with those chieftaincies, and even with this award I just received today, Peter, one thing I'm thinking about, you will love this. See all these computer games that young men, young boys and girls, they play.
Yeah.
Think about computer games about Mbangalum in Northwest, or about some Bakwere tradition, showing our environments, instead of having computer games, just having white people and Western world, tall buildings and so on. We have computer games about our local environment here. Those are some of the things I'm trying to develop. Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi and I, we've just entered an agreement with the foreign institution. We're going to do it with the government, with some institutions in Japan and France. We will bring in, training our own young people to develop good computer games, good artificial intelligence related things in local languages. So technology and culture are very closely put together.
All right. Yeah, I asked that question because we are in Africa, and most of the time, those in the rural areas want to see technology as a white man thing.
Yeah.
And there'll probably be that clash between maintaining the culture and accepting something which comes from beyond the customary borders. That was why I really asked that question.
No, absolutely, yeah. Peter. We have to respect our culture. Our cultures are very rich. I did not even tell you about this wonderful project we are doing now to use technology to digitize Africa's traditional medicines. Okay, the US government has given me some seed money to do this. A lot of our traditional medicines, we laugh at them and we go and take these Western medicines that have so many side effects. So culturally, we'll be digitizing, like if you get a leaf from Bafusam, that leaf, they will tell you, if you grind it and put on a cut, it's going to heal your wound. And another traditional herbalist from Furawa would tell you, if you grind it and boil it and drink it, it will treat stomach problems. We want to start digitizing these and keep it such that we will eventually have here in Cameroon where you can go online and you are sick of something and they will tell you, get this leaf and do this and you get treated.
All right. Now, is there a way traditional authorities can come into it to make sure that the vision extends and expands right down to the people? Yeah,
we want to actually involve, this cannot be done without the traditional leaders. Remember, that is their knowledge. So as ICT University, we cannot just take it and give it like that online without ensuring that these people are compensated for their knowledge. Otherwise, the Western world will take it and run with it and make it theirs, right? Sure. So traditional leaders will be involved. Today, I drink a vitamin tablet called bitter leaf. You know what is done? It's sold in America, done by Americans, packaged by Americans. But how much do those people in those villages get from the bitter leaf they send to America? Very little.
Very little, almost nothing.
They are in capsules. Go and Google bitter leaf capsule. You will see they get it from Africa, and they make billions of dollars. So with technology now, we'll be able to have the locals benefit from this.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Victor Mbarika. It was
Peter,
a pleasure talking to you.
I bet add chief to my title.
Yeah, so. Chief Professor Victor Mbarika.
Thank you.
I almost forgot that. 4 chieftaincy titles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, it's on this note that we come to this very compelling interview live from the campus of the ICT University here in Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon. Thanks very much for being with us. Keep watching Dash News, the voice of Africa. Until next time, bye-bye.